Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Mama Genius Hub podcast. Today, we're going to talk about videos. What does that even mean? Well, how do we get out in front of ourselves and get our messages out there? And how do we make that a little bit easier? We got Nicole here to help us with that, talking about her brand techniques. And we're going to dive into that as soon as I get a chance to introduce her. Here we go. As soon as I get to the right one. Nicole has a lifetime of passion for people and creativity. As a child, she always enjoyed creating digital art and spending many hours with her grandfather videoing, documenting several generations of her family tree. Oh, I love that. She graduated with her BA in broadcasting and electronic media with a minor in media design in 2009. From there, she spent 5 years in infomercial marketing, with step before out to pursue her goals as an entrepreneur. Nicole enjoys using her gifts and talent in video marketing to help others succeed in their goals, to alleviate suffering, and to spread healing, hope, and peace to others. I love that. We find ourselves in a state of suffering, many suffering with physical and mental challenges. Nicole loves to spread ideas that can help people find peace through their circumstance of purpose, their pain, and healing whenever possible. Thank you so much for coming on today, Nicole. I can't wait to hear all about how we bring these ideas, these thoughts, these into actual reality. And that's why I just really want to have you on here to bring that aspect, because we get these dreams, but how do we make that a reality? So tell us a little bit about you first. I know we introduced
Oh,
you,
thank
but
you. I was gonna say thank you so much for having me. I mean, that says quite a bit about me and my background and how I've arrived here at this place doing what I do today. I am a wife and a mama, and I live a very full caregiving life. But I also love to pour into other people's missions. Like my clients often are. Um, Counselors and therapists, and people, coaches who are helping people navigate some of the hardest things that we come up against on this side of heaven. And so it's been my joy and pleasure to help my clients find their voice and share their message that brings healing to so many, in a way that doesn't burn them out. And so I have created a system that helps pull the right information out of you so that you have a library of video content to pull from to put together video assets that help you to grow your brand in a very organic way. Um, but that doesn't take away from all of the time that you want to be spending with your family, which is often why we get into this whole journey of entrepreneurship to begin with, is because we want that freedom and flexibility to spend time with our loved ones when we want to be with them.
I love that. It's so true. That's part of the reason for me also, like staying at home and then realizing that I didn't know what or how I want to do it, but it's like going back to the classroom and going back to that was not in me either, but it was like this calling to do something more. But then finding people like you who help, how do you get that calling into reality? And
Right.
I love that you have the video assets to help us with that. So I kind of want to break that down a little bit let's get to some of the practicalities for those moms out there who again, we're going to talk on that a little bit more throughout this. Is I'm so busy, I can't, I'm going to just hide this passion inside of me because I can't do that too. But I love how you break down how to get that message out there through your system.
Yeah. So I have fallen in love with the concept of batch recording, which means that in a short period of time, not necessarily one day, but maybe, in a week's time, you are getting all of your videos recorded, your video footage recorded, and then going back later and pulling and editing the pieces that work, um, when it's appropriate, and how it fits in with your marketing and messaging campaign. Um, and so the way that I have found to do this is by using software that allows you to build that library of footage. And then you can build like Legos, if you will, right? You have all of the different pieces and how you put them together so that it conveys your message well, and pulls out the pieces of your background and your story and your expertise and all of the things that have brought you to this one place, and like all of a sudden it's like, okay, I have all of this background. How do I bring it out into the world and share it? And so having this library of footage gives you the resources that you need to be able to put those things together in a time efficient way that doesn't make you feel like, man, I need to record that again. Oh, I need to record that again. Um, which is just going to leave you to frustration and burnout. And that's
So
not
what
what
do
I
you
want.
think some of those pieces are that we should like have, like what kind of video library, like what are some of those pieces that should be in this library?
Yeah, absolutely. So I have developed a framework. I call it my beautiful brand video framework. Um, B is your bio or your brand story. So that gets into why do you do what you do? What background um, experiences have ignited this passion for you? What brought you here? I know you shared in my introduction that, as a little girl, I would spend hours with my grandpa helping to put together family videos. And so it's funny for me, I say funny, but special funny, to look back and recognize that this has been in me for for decades, not generations, generational video. But but the idea of legacy in that, you know what I mean? It was so important to him that he finished that project. Um, and he had other things that he wanted to leave behind. He wanted to write a book, and he never got a chance to write it. And so, I carry those things with me, and like, I don't want people to leave this earth without having shared what they really felt called to share.
I love that.
Um, it really, where my experience of losing my sister at an early age really solidified that for me. Um, she leaves behind her kiddos, and it we don't know how much time we have left, and when we are called home, what we leave behind is our legacy. And in this day and age where so much of what we do ends up online, and people go back and look at your online presence after you passed, what did you stand for? And video is it's such a consumable medium. I mean, it blows everything else out of the water, hands down. Um, and so I want to be helping people put out content that leads to more hope scrolling instead of doom scrolling.
Yes. I love that. That's so true because I feel like we're prone to negativity, and so then our brain just keeps fighting it. But like we have to make that conscious choice, and so if we put that positivity and that video in front of us, that changes the brain waves in us because we are hardwired to for survival, for saving ourselves from the saber-toothed tiger that is now stress. But it's still
Right.
there. It's just a different form, and so it's a conscious choice that we have to make to change that. And I love video is such a powerful way to do that.
Absolutely.
So you start telling us about B. So let's continue.
So B, your bio or brand story. So what brought you here? Next is R. You're going to want some reviews and testimonials. So people you've worked with, people who have had good results, or a shift in their thinking or their lifestyle, or whatever results it is that you help them get. Um, Having a conversation with them on video to pull out their experience, and then using that to help grow your brand. Inside my framework, I have a whole list of questions that helps to pull that out of somebody that you're interviewing for some review footage. I also offer a service called Feedback Fests. So if you're like, I just need somebody to host this thing and get the footage together for me, I'm totally here for that. So you got your brand story, your reviews and testimonials. A is your aligned offers. So offering something that in alignment with your heart, your brand, the whole thing. So again, in my framework, I have questions that help you identify what that offer is and um, pull out how to articulate the value within it, um, and what the transformation is going to look like, and all of those things, how to put together an offer video. And I know a lot of times people get started with a video and they're like, I don't even know what to say. And so I've tried to kind of help with that by giving some easy prompts that help you connect those dots. N is your need to know or educational content. And this is the stuff that makes an awesome YouTube channel. A lot of people have been doing like Facebook Lives, which is another great way to do it. But again, it comes back to your goals and what you're trying to achieve. So there's not a right or wrong way. It's just what's right or wrong for you. And so don't ever like go into something being like, well, so and so said I have to do it this way, so this is the only way. I love this Lego analogy. I've used it before and I will use it again and again. It's about creativity. It's about expressing yourself, and video is a medium. It's an art. There's no right or wrong when it comes to art. It's just an expression.
I love that. And I think it's the only right or wrong is it right or wrong for your soul, like the way it's coming out. Mm-hmm. And so there is like, everyone does it differently. I mean, I think that's the beauty also in entrepreneurship, is that there's so much choice, but then it's really is about honing in and listening to your gut to weed out all the possibilities and find the ones that speak to your soul and the way you want to present that message. And I think that's the hardest part, which is why I even created this channel, was I want moms to weed that out and figure out what speaks to me to bring my message out and how to do that, and like bring out the practicalities of it. Because I don't want to forget that, like, we are such visionaries as women, but if we don't bring it down and actually make these a reality, then they get lost and forgotten. And I want women to rock and us to soar and lift each other up. That's what this is all about. Is just how do we get women to help each other grow together and not lose those flames we have inside of us, but to foster them, because they are in infancy stage when you're starting these videos. And if you don't grow them and you just hide and you don't do anything about it, then the confidence just wanes away, like, oh, I'll do that tomorrow. And that tomorrow is 10 years. And I want moms to do it now. Let's start this together. So we're up to D. I'm keep cutting you off.
All right. No, you're right. And then to bring the whole brand framework together, D is your day in the life or behind the scenes videos. So it's what are you doing on the day to day? I think sometimes we get so caught up in the minutia of trying to do what we're doing, we don't realize that like it's super different than what everybody else is doing, and people find that interesting. There's little nuggets that you can share along the way that people will find inspiring. And so share those moments of inspiration, ask questions, find out what people think.
I love that so much, because I feel like sometimes we like see just the results of someone and get lost in the results and say, I'll never get there. And we don't look at what their day and who they are throughout their day that brings them to get those results. I think that I love that, because that's really what we're focusing on, is those little changes is what's really going to create those results down the line. But we want those results now. And we don't see what it takes time, like starting to change and becoming that person is what really brings in those results. And so I love that you have the daily nuggets in there, because that's really true. Is we want the behind the scenes, the reality of it, the vulnerability of what do I have to go through to actually get here? And then you can ask the question, is that something I actually want to do? Because we always just look at, oh, I want their life, but did you see what they got to get there?
Well, and to that point, I want their life. You don't know what somebody else's life looks like. And we have this like highlight reel thing going on the internet. And You talked about how like it's all about the results. Not everything that you share in your behind the scenes needs to be about the goal. It could be about who you are, sharing your heart, like really letting people get to know you is really the whole point of those behind the scenes things. So for me, a lot of the things that I share in my feed on Facebook, for instance, like it's my personal stuff. I like if you go to my Facebook page, you will see that I'm a freelance video editor. You will also see family moments and um, post about what I'm going through as a person, not
Right.
like buy my thing, buy my thing, buy my thing. But when you it really does all come back to networking. I mean, it's like a I look at Facebook and social media in general as like a billboard, right? Like as a personal brand, who are you? You know, you use these platforms as a way to share your values, your passions, your purpose.
Mhm.
You know, all of those things become very evident in what you post online. My husband and I were just talking about this the other day about, you know, the difference between his feed and my feed and how the algorithm works. Like you know, we talk about like quantum physics is like what you focus on grows, right?
Mhm.
The algorithm works the same way. So the more you watch something, the more you like something, the more you comment on something, the more you engage with something, the more the algorithm is going to go, oh, you like things like that. I'll show you more of that. And so you're really creating your online reality every second that you spend on a piece of media. And so, you know, like I said earlier, I want to promote more hope scrolling instead of doom scrolling because there's plenty of negative content out there. You don't have to look far to find it. You know, usually it creeps into your notifications before you even sought it out. You know, and so like being intentional to click past that and keep your head in
Mm,
a happy place, in a hopeful place, it takes intentionality.
I love
But
that.
yeah, sharing who you are as a person is really what the behind the scenes stuff is all about. Yes, you can like share business related things too, but it shouldn't be the only thing you're talking about.
I was more talking about the personal growth. And so the things that you're going through daily, like just in terms of what's happening in your life, that it's not all like roses and stuff, but like you're
Right.
seeing the reality of it in terms of the behind the scenes. Cause we just see like you said, the highlight reel. And so I love how you say the behind the scenes, but that's the reality of what leads to that, the growth that you're doing, the relationships that you're developing, the way you're thinking about yourself as well. And that's the thing I've noticed, at least for me, is the way I'm looking at who I am and the way I'm talking to myself. Like I don't hear that chatter as much as I used to. And I think that's what I've been working for is like I used to feel that drama in my head going
Hmm.
like even I was just saying about Thanksgiving and the packing used to be such a like dramatic experience for me. And it like this like my husband looked at me this weekend going, "What happened to you?" Like there was no like crying, no arguing, no nothing with the packing. It just was. And I feel like that like we're getting to those behind the scenes and the reality of like that shift that we make in our
Sure.
person to create this. So before we go into our, because we're getting close to running out of time, before we go into our 5 questions, I just want to I want to home back down to the practicality of what steps then for moms listening to this who want to get their message out. Where should they start with this video idea this brand idea? Like what's step one for them?
Well, I do have a brand new framework with a workbook and course that goes with it that walks you through that entire framework with all the questions, prompts, and the whole bit. So I will give Michelle the link to, I'll give you the link to drop below. Um, but that would be my first step. Um, just it's a lot of journaling. It's not so much about hitting record right away as much as it is really spending the time to think about the values and the passions and the end goal. You know, one of the coaching isms that we hear in the business coaching world a lot is start with the end in mind, and it's so true. Like when you start recording your videos, you should already know what your end goal is. what are you aiming for? Why are you doing this? And so the workbook helps you to navigate all of that. But yeah, I would say that would definitely be my first step, is to just really do some soul searching and some reading. I've read many books to help shape my brain into the positive thing that it is, so that you're handling the things that will come up in a graceful way.
I love the word graceful. That's actually one of my values. So yeah, my 3 values are growth, gratitude, and grace. And
Love
I
it.
feel like we never like if we stop growing, then like that's it. And then I realized that that's when I was stuck. When I first started even wanting to do this was I realized I wasn't working on myself. And so I think that's so key is figuring that all out and it is doing the inner work before the outer work, which I love how you say that. So like to get the videos done, it's like what do you want to express in those videos and doing some of that deep work to go inside. I love that.
Absolutely.
Let's dive into some of these questions just to make sure we don't run out of time because I'm sure we're going to keep chatting away. So we're
Sure.
going to end with our questions that I always give for moms. Number 1, we want to get some new resources. So again, share your favorite book or resource that has a significant impact on your journey as being a mom.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and I know I just got done saying I've done a lot of book reading. One of my favorite coaches, her name is Kara Harvey, wrote the 15-minute formula, which has been just a game-changing uh, philosophy approach. I don't know how you want to put that, but way of managing motherhood. um, I feel like before I started working with Kara, a lot of the things that were happening were just happening to me instead of me having any kind of plan to happen to the thing. So I started happening to things instead of things happening to me. We shifted that, and that was a big shift. Because I very quickly realized, after I became a mom, that my life was not the same, and it was never gonna be the same again.
Mm-mm.
And I love being a mom. It is my favorite thing, and I didn't like how much anxiety and stress was running the show. And so her book really helped me get a handle on
And I have to say that that's how we met. And so it again is about the connections and the networking and Nicole and I met through Kara's through her network and stuff. And so I think it is really sometimes finding the people once you decide to do this, because that was part of it was there are people that didn't want to have the entrepreneur conversations. And like I was trying to put that conversation on then realizing no. Like finding the people to share this. And then all of a sudden you find the right people like, yeah, let me help you. Let me do this. Let's brainstorm together. And Nicole was one of those people for me. And so I think that that's so vital is finding that right community for you when you decide to do something new and not
that.
necessarily the community around you is ready for that new idea, but there are people who are and define
Yeah.
that for you.
And community really is such a key piece to a healthy and fulfilled life of any kind. Like whether it's entrepreneurship or physical fitness or a hobby, having a community of people who, I know we use the like-minded community phraseology a lot, but really like people who are interested in the same thing, who get just as lit up and excited about the same kind of things as you. Um, Putting random posts out on the internet is not necessarily the thing that's going to lead you to the kind of community that I think a lot of times we expect it to.
Oh, love how
So
you
I
put that.
have I have found that by investing in being part of circles that have put me with those like-minded people have been where my greatest network growth has come from. So it has been um, getting over my fear of going out in public after the pandemic and going to an in-person conference that I went to all by myself and drove 9 hours to get there and figured out how to do freelancing from home. Like that was what I wanted to do. And I needed help to figure out how to do it. So I went and I stuck my butt in a room full of a whole bunch of other moms who are learning how to freelance from home. And I'm still connected with so many of them today. And then I got into a circle of other moms who were like, I'm sick of life happening to me. Like, I want to happen to my life. And I joined Kara's community. And I'm very actively involved in that group of people. I have other communities that I've gotten myself involved with as well. And the friendships and I mean, people who are genuinely interested in what I'm doing and that I'm able to help in a meaningful way, like that's where those connections happen. It's not the posts on Facebook. And
No.
people like and comment, but that's not what they're there for. They're like, "Oh, what's she up to?" That's about it. So as you're thinking about where you're going to put things out online, make sure that you're putting things in a place that makes sense for the, the platform you're putting it on.
I love that. And speaking of circles, I do have a women's circle this Sunday, and I know you've come to some in the past. So it is really about that connection and just bringing that together and find that spot that works for you. And so my suggestion is try some of these. If it speaks to you, give it a try. If it doesn't fit, give something else a try. Like it's just
Yeah,
listening to that inner part of you to what community is going to be right for you at this moment. And it might change as your interests and needs change and grow.
right.
But just remember
Seriously.
that.
Yeah. I mean, I've always been a very bubbly, outgoing, friendly person. Like the pandemic being so isolating was a very strange experience for me. And then like coupling that with being a new mom, like it was hard. Like I'm like, this is not what I expected this season of life to look like. Um, and so like you said, like being open to, well, this community isn't what I thought it was going to be. My sense of community isn't what I expected it to be, but it's still available. And being creative in how you look for ways to surround yourself with those people and find community in healthy ways.
I love that. Well, we're going to run out of time. So number 2 for you is what is a family tradition or ritual in your household that brings a lot of joy to you all?
Well, whenever we need a mood shift, shall we say, music always seems to help. So I am notorious for turning up the music and igniting a dance party. Yes,
Music right
exactly.
now.
um, when things just start feeling heavy. I find myself listening to music in my office. Just I think music is a very healing medium. So that is always one of my kind of joy tricks is like we need a different vibe. Turn it
I believe you told me that you found a new song.
up. You introduced me to a new song. Jack Hartman, I'm gonna make this an awesome day. If you've got little ones in your home, I strongly encourage you to start every single day jamming out to I'm gonna make this an awesome day.
We don't want to get copyrighted right now,
It does
but
not
we
get old.
totally recommend it. And it goes off of my Alexa every day at 8:07. And if we're not available to do it, we pause it. And then my little one, even today, I danced to it twice with her. We were just like rocking out, jumping up and down, singing to it. Like, so find something if it's not that song, but something to like that works for you guys. And my older one will sometimes join us, but at least my little one and I rock out to it every single day, every school day, I should say, not the weekends. But
Another
all
one.
right.
It was so cute. My little guy yesterday, um, the big kids at his school recently performed A Million Dreams, and now it's like his favorite song. He's like, "Mom, will you play A Million Dreams?" And it's
Oh,
like
I
the
love that.
cutest. If you've never heard it,
I
Look it
have
up.
not.
It's such a good song.
Now you're gonna add
Pink,
a new song
Pink
to my
and her
playlist.
daughter do a beautiful rendition of it.
So number 3. So this is one that we were talking about right before we got started. But again, this idea that when we talk to each other, that we ask how we're doing, and we always respond with "I'm busy," or not always, and everyone's a little bit different. But that's why I'm trying to open up this conversation to how to change that and kind of get out of hiding behind our busyness and really trying to change our energy and the words we use to really show who we are and what we do. So I know you had some ideas on that.
Yeah, I mean, I think everybody's busy, right? I mean, who's not busy? I mean, unless you're really doing absolutely nothing, you're busy. But what are you busy with? And so one of the things that I find myself asking people often is, what are you working on? You know, um, instead of how are you, or what's new, you know, I like to ask specifically, what are you working on? Because it opens the door for them to tell me about their passions and their projects, and um, just how I might be able to support them, and just genuinely get to know them more,
I love that.
and what lights them up more.
I love that. I love the idea of just reaching out to get to know someone better. And I think that's really what the key is and just shifting our perspective. And that's what brings me to that question. Number 4, describe what genius means to you and what does it feel like to live in your genius?
So, I mean, living in your genius to me means that you've done the values searching, and like you know what you stand for. You know what you're passionate about, and you have found a way to plug yourself into those values and passions in a way that feels good, that gives you energy instead of drains you, because you're so excited about what you're working on that it just fills you up. You can't, like, I don't want to stop because this is fun, you know? Um, and I think when you take the time to really think about how you want to design your life,
Mm.
the intentionality of designing your life is what makes the difference, you know?
Oh,
Um, and it feels like peace. It feels like excitement. It feels like joy. It feels like all those things that you're like, when you're on your tiredest day and you're frustrated to no end, and you really take a step back and go, why do I feel tired? Why do I feel frustrated? You probably haven't been operating in your zone of genius.
I love that. Last one, since I know we're about to run out of time. How do you encourage your child or children to explore passions and skills in their life and being in their genius?
This one goes way back for me. I've been so I've loved kids since I was as small as my kid, who's 4. I was talking to him last night. I'm like, do you know that I wanted to be a mama since I was as little as you? Like, you're my favorite, and it's so important to give them opportunities to get to know their own interests. And so I love the Montessori philosophy for this, because that is very much how that philosophy of education operates, is looking at what the child's interests are and helping them find opportunities to grow within those interests. But even before I had him enrolled in school, he loves to build things. He's very inventive in the things that he likes to do. I mean, Legos all day long if he could, but
Hence the Lego
um,
analogies. I'm just kidding.
seriously, boy after my own heart, for sure. Um, but we've also done, they call it the Fab Lab here in town, and it's their like CNC machining and like robotics. It's very high tech, cutting edge stuff, but they have workshops for kiddos as young as my son, who, like I said, is only 4. And so we've gone in there and he's had a chance to see the world of possibilities of like where all of his ideas can ultimately lead him. And so um, that's been a lot of fun. And I mean, he even just asked me the other day, like, Mama, can we go back to the Fab Lab? And so like I love asking him what he's interested in, what he wants to do, and finding opportunities to help him explore those things deeper so that as he gets older, he's able to go, I have an idea. I want to do this. And it's easy for him to figure out a way to do that instead
I
of
love that.
placing all of these, like, I want you to do this and I want you to do that. What do you want to do? What sounds
I love
interesting to you
that.
today?
And I love that question for ourselves as well. What do we want to do? And we are just about out of time. So is there any final words and how people can get a hold of you?
Oh, well, you can find me on Facebook, Nicole Banks. Beautifulthingsmedia.com is my webpage. If you want to visit me online, you can get the Beautiful Brand Framework. I know you said you're going to drop the link in the comments below or description below. But yeah, that's where you can find me.
Well, thank you so much for coming on, Nicole. And again, let's get out there and get our messages going. And again, the 15-minute formula brought up ideas too of how we can use those pockets of time, that it doesn't have to be a full day, that we can start doing things slowly through small pockets of time. And part of that is getting the ideas down below to get that message out. And how do you want to get that message video wise to the rest of the world? And Nicole can help you do that. And we'll see you guys all next time. Bye,
Thanks so much
everyone.
for having me.
Thanks for coming on.